Good evening and welcome to Colorado Mesa University TV News. I'm Stephen Adams. The University of Missouri System's president, Tim Wolf, resigned Monday morning in the face of growing protests by African American students, the threat of a walkout by faculty, and a strike by football players who said he had done too little to combat racism on campus. More than 30 members of Missouri's football team announced Saturday that they would no longer take part in football-related activities while Wolf was in power. The football players joined the protest after graduate student Jonathan Butler began a hunger strike 1 week ago. Butler said the strike would either end in Wolf leaving his post or Butler dying. Student government president and black rights activist Peyton Head said in September that people in a passing pickup truck shouted racial slurs at him. In early October, members of a black student organization said slurs were hurled at them by an apparently drunken white student. In addition, a swastika drawn in feces was found recently in a dormitory bathroom. New former President Wolf, who earned his bachelor's degree from the university's flagship campus and spent most of his childhood in Columbia, said he was crestfallen by what had transpired. He pinned the blame squarely on himself for letting the situation on campus get out of hand while acknowledging a breakdown in communication with students on campus. Top Russian athletes, including Olympians and winners of prestigious events like the Chicago Marathon, have for years participated in a systematic doping program that involves some of Russia's sports officials, the World Anti-Doping Agency said on Monday. The agency released a lengthy report that described a pervasive doping culture among Russia's sports programs. The report recommended that Russia be suspended from competition by track and field governing body, and one of its authors said it would encourage the International Olympic Committee to bar Russia's athletic federation from next summer's Rio Olympics. The report implicated athletes, coaches, trainers, doctors, and various Russian institutions, including the country's anti-doping agency and an accredited laboratory in Moscow that handled testing for the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. It detailed payments to conceal doping tests and arrangements by which athletes were made aware of when they would be tested, and also showed evidence of the destruction of samples. Volkswagen said Monday that it would offer up to $1,000 to owners of diesel cars in the United States, a first step in the German company's long road to restoring the trust of its customers. Volkswagen said owners and lessees of 2-liter TDI models affected by the problem would be eligible for a $500 cash card to spend freely. They would also get another $500 to spend at Volkswagen dealerships, as well as a free 24-hour roadside assistance for 3 years. Car owners who accept the offer will not waive the right to sue the company, according to a Volkswagen spokeswoman. As Starbucks revived red and green coffee cups for the holidays, some customers are stirring up complaints that the company left Christmas off the cups. Joshua Forstein, an Arizona-based evangelist, posted a Facebook video that has been viewed 12 million times by Monday morning that addressed the lack of a Christian message on the red cups. In this video, Forstein claimed that Starbucks wanted to take Christ and Christmas off their cups. Rather than boycott, he told the barista his name was Merry Christmas to get that written on the cup. He's urging other customers to do the same and to post selfies with the cups on social media. And for those of you who haven't seen Saturday Night Live in a while, which according to the show's recent ratings is quite a few people, you might be shocked to find that Donald Trump hosts this past Saturday's show. His monologue introduced the actors who have impersonated him for years, and his skits were pretty self-defecating. Probably the most notable skit of the night was Trump dancing in a parody of Drake's Hotline Bling music video. You can check out clips from the show on Hulu. That's it for news this week. Now over to Carly Hanley with Carly's Corner.
Good evening and welcome to Carly's Corner. I'm Carly Hanley here with Professor Dan Flanagan, who is the advisor of the Public Relations Club. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can incorporate PR in all of the clubs that you're involved in, and also kind of how PR Club works. So will you tell us a little about what you do in PR Club?
Well, thanks, Carly. It's good to be here. And PR Club, I think we've been in existence for about 7 years. It's part of the mass communication program. And we really do about 3 different things. One, we just came back from what we call professional visits. And we went to the Front Range, visited 2 major PR firms, and then we visited Rocky Mountain PBS headquarters in Denver, and also visited with alumni of our program. And so what our students in PR Club hope to get out of that is networking. As you know, it's all about networking. And it was a good chance to visit with really people that weren't that much older than you are, who have started their own PR firms and are well on their career path. So that's one thing. Secondly, in Grand Junction, PR Club will work with organizations, both on campus and off, that need some PR assistance. And our club members, really what they hope to gain from that is maybe a little better understanding and portfolio pieces that they can show off their understanding of how to do effective PR. The one thing, and it's just kind of a caveat to that, that they've slowed down a little bit on trying to do every club on campus. So they're not just selective, but they really try to see which ones they can help the most. At one point, the club sort of became the poster making club for every organization on campus, and that's really not the focus of PR. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit as we go through this. But if a club needs help just coming up with ideas or strategies, our club members try to exercise their talents doing that.
Cool. And then the third thing?
The third thing, we do some things on campus like bringing in speakers. And then in the spring, we are part of, affiliated with PRSA, the Public Relations Society of America, and they do a shadow day. So our students go back and shadow PR professionals either on this side of the mountain or over in Denver.
Cool.
So thanks for asking me that third one.
So if a club needs something and they come to the PR club, do you bring it to your meetings that it needs to be addressed, or is it kind of like a one-on-one basis? They just go to a member to talk about it.
Usually it's through the whole group that decisions are made, but it could be started just with one visit with one member. But usually it's the idea, kind of like a media firm, the more people you have thinking about an idea, the better it's probably going to get through that process.
Right.
This semester they've worked a great deal with the cashmere slipper. Do you know what that is?
I have not heard about that. Will you explain it a little bit further?
Well, see, that's why they need our firm.
That's why they need PR.
They're actually it's a restaurant that's located where the Point used to be, across campus over by where the Pita Pit used to be.
Oh, okay.
I guess near FedEx, I guess
Right.
would be a good way to put it. And they're a small, very boutique kind of restaurant, but they're trying to appeal to college students. So PR Club's working a little bit with them, both on things on campus that they can do to better acquaint students with what they offer, and also just to do some things menu-wise and things that they think will appeal. So that's one example of what they do.
Good. And do you have to be a mass communications major to join PR Club?
No. In fact, I think part of the beauty of a lot of the clubs on campus, but certainly PR Club, is we gain strength from having other kinds of majors, whether it's music, business, whatever your major is, there's a way you can be part of the club and grow.
And do you believe that it works the other way as well, that it'll help the student if they have PR experience, even if they're not necessarily going into public relations?
Definitely. It's, I mean, most of the things we do, there's a heavy element of common sense and just learning, networking as you go. So I think it's a gain for a student from any major.
And when do you guys meet?
This semester we're meeting at 4 o'clock on Thursdays in the Mass Communication office. And I'll throw in Brittany Madigan as our president this semester. We'll probably be changing officers in spring. We also work a lot with other campus media. So I think that's another strength of our department, and obviously of what we do is PR Club can link clubs or students in with other organizations, such as CMU TV or KMSA Radio or the Crite, and help develop an effective strategy for what to do on campus.
Cool. And as the public relations advisor, do you have any advice that you might give to members of other clubs around campus or officers of other clubs of how to kind of boost their PR strategies?
Sure. I think, and maybe a couple of things, remind me to come back to a couple of things. But thinking about this, I think most clubs kind of get in a formula and they go, oh, we got to put up a poster. You know, if we put up 20 posters, that's all we need to do for an effective outreach strategy. And I think the best way to answer, is that a good strategy, is to look at bulletin boards around campus and think, how many times have you actually stared at what's on those boards? So you may feel like you're doing good PR, but actually you need to be a little more strategic, that's a tough word to say, about what you're doing, and really start with what are your goals, what's your target audience. Don't try to reach everybody on campus. Think through who are the most likely ones that you want to impact or that you want to affiliate with. The other thing is, and I think you've all heard some version of this, but what's in it for me? So put yourself in their shoes. Like, what am I going to get out of this? So you may think all you've got to do is say, we're going to have a meeting and people will just want to show up. But you really have to think, what's going to entice them to be part of this group? And it may not be big things. It may not be, just money, donuts, and coffee, but it may be something self-actualizing. So am I going to be a better person? Am I going to learn something that I can take back to my network based on what I get out of this particular club? So what's in it for me is always a good way to think about it.
Okay. So would you maybe say like a table would be a good way to advertise for a club so that they can talk one-on-one with students that are interested, or what would be some good strategies?
Yeah, it's funny. Practically any strategy you think of, you can kind of do a matrix of what's good about that and what's not so good. And so let's use tables as an example. Like when I walk through the UC and there's tables on both sides and I'm on my way to a class, I'm going to keep my blindfolds on and try to go right through that. At the same time, if the table is attractive, enticing, and I know I'm not going to get a hard sales pitch, I may stop at that table. So you kind of break down that into a strategy of, well, what time of day would be best to do that? Lunchtime, maybe some off-hour times, like when students are waiting to go through the meal line, might be a good time that you wouldn't even think about. But again, it depends on who you're trying to attract to that. But yeah, tables are an effective way. I think part of what unusual strategies are probably the ones that I think have the most attraction, to me anyway. And that might be some sort of a flash event that happens. It might be going into classes, but very selectively going into classes to talk about your organization. So, but it's probably doing the things that not everybody else is doing are going to be the most effective.
And for the last question today, what do you think about social media? What is the importance of social media for a club? Do you think that it is going to be an effective way to get the word out, or is that still kind of a normalized strategy, as you would say?
Well, I think you know the answer from a mass communication standpoint, and watching how our program has grown and changed in that regard. Social media is just probably one of the starting places, just like everything else, for a club or organization. What we use it for, and I think most of our sub-organizations within MassCom do a great job of this. First, you just network your own club members, and that's an effective way to reach out to other potential club members because of friends of friends. So all those social media strategies, I think, are like one thing you've got to check off.
Right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today.
It's been fun.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the students out there?
Oh, I just think I think our best promotions are our clubs and our mass communication students. So anybody that actually sees this, we'd be happy to have you come by, see our studios, and check out what facilities are available to you, regardless of what club or what your program is here at CMU.
Thank you. This has been Carly Hanley and Dan Flanagan with Carly's Corner. Make it a great week, Mavericks.